are standing opposite to the best, beautiful facade ever inside the site, which is the treasury. It is called the treasury because the old actually tale is saying that the pharaoh has hidden his treasure inside that place. That's why it was called the treasury. So the Bedouins actually got used to shoot on the jar in the upper part there because they thought that the treasure, the gold, was already hidden inside that jar. But as you can see, the body of the jar is very solid, so nothing came through from it. Mainly, as you can see, the facade is very huge. It has a height of 39.1 meters with a width of 25.30 meters as a width. It consists of 2 floors. The first floor is already fronted by 6 columns, and those columns are already decorated with Corinthian crowns. And the Corinthian crown because it is already carrying the decoration of the acanthus leaf that does grow in the area here. And they were already inspired from the flora life that was existing here in order to make the decoration of the crowns of those columns. That's why those columns are called Corinthian columns. 2 columns being already embossed in the body of the rock in the right, 2 in the left. But the 2 in the mid being already carved out and already added to the main entrance in front of the gate of the treasury. Where in between the first 2 columns in the right side, there is a person riding a horse, directing his face to the east. This is actually representing part of the Greco-Roman mythology, which is actually called Castro. And Castro is the god of the good spirits. So after their death, he will take the good spirits to heaven. On the left side, there is another person riding another horse, directing his face to the west, from where the sun sets. And this is actually representing Polokos. And Polokos is the god of the evil spirits. Whenever they die, he will take the evil spirits to hell. On the upper part, mainly, you can see 6 front columns and 6 back columns, where in the mid, in between the 2 columns, there is a carving for the goddess of the Egyptians, which is actually Isis. And this is the goddess of life and death. Where in between the 2 columns at both sides, in the right and the left, there are 2 eagles, and the eagles are part of the Babylon influence of the architecture. So you saw Greco-Roman mythology, you saw the crowns that been made from the acanthus leaf, decorated with the acanthus leaf. You saw also the eagles from the Babylon influence of architecture. You saw the influence of the Egyptian pharaonic for the goddess of life and death, Isis. And in the upper part, there is a jar. Again, this is another influence from the Babylon architecture because the jar is representing burial there. That's why, as you can see from this facade actually that you are looking at, which is called the treasury, there is a mixture of influence in the architecture from different civilizations, especially that the Nabateans were open for the whole world, who were coming from here through the trading caravans to invest in the city. And as you can see, if you will put a line in the mid of the treasury from the upper part to down, you will find that the right side of the facade is typically a copy from the left side, and this is part of the Semitic art of the architecture from the Babylon architecture. On the upper part, in between the peak of the mountain and in between the upper part of the facade, there is also a channel that has a width of 90 centimeters. This channel being already carved out in the rock in order to drain out the water of the rainfall away from the face of the facade in order to protect it. This was one of the reasons that actually the facade is still existing up to this moment, because of the channel of water that is draining away the water of the rainfall from the face of the facade, because it is surrounded with mountains from all directions, and this will protect it actually from the wind erosion, and also because the area is very close from each other from where people can get in, and it was already well protected after being already